These 5 books helped pull me out of one of the darkest periods of my life. Now, this is not going to be a traditional book review. Instead, I'm going to be sharing how each one of these helped me at different stages of what I was going through. So if you're in a difficult season right now, pay attention to which one of these books matches where you are. A couple of them are a tad controversial, and I was a little bit dubious at first, but after I read them, I saw how powerful they were. So the first couple are about internal mindset. And then the third one is more research-based. And then the last 2 are more about taking action. Well, mindset and taking action. If you're new here, I am Tess. And when I say darkest period, I'm not being dramatic. I was depressed, anxious, and burned out from spending years in a toxic job and relationship. Now, these books didn't magically fix everything, but they really helped me to think differently, stop blaming myself, and eventually find the strength to leave both of those situations. And now I am in a far better place. I'm happy. I will provide links to all of the books below in the description box, so be sure to check them out. So the first book is Radical Acceptance by Tara Brach. And honestly, this book should be required reading for everyone. So Tara Brach is a therapist and a spiritual teacher. And first I want to say what this book is not about, because I think there are some misunderstandings about what acceptance means. It is not about accepting your crappy situation. So if you're in a crappy job, a crappy relationship, or crappy living situation, whatever it is, this book is not saying just accept it, just suck it up and don't worry about it. If you are in a crappy situation and you can change it, by all means, change it. Radical acceptance is about accepting your emotions. We are all humans and we all have emotions, but so often we try to fight against those emotions, and that only causes more suffering. So for me, I know that I would have an emotion, I would feel sad, or I would feel angry or frustrated, or whatever that, maybe negative emotion was, and then I would just spiral. And I would just linger in that emotion, and you couldn't pull me out of it for hours or days sometimes. And on top of that, sometimes we layer emotions on top of those emotions. So we have emotions about our emotions. For example, maybe my boss made a comment about me, some kind of an offhanded comment that might have been innocuous, but I took it personally, and I felt hurt by it. So instead of just allowing myself to feel hurt, I would judge myself. I would say, you're being too sensitive, or you should be more professional. So here I am beating myself up over having this emotion. Radical acceptance is about just accepting that emotion, accepting that you have that emotion, not dissecting the situation or even thinking about the situation, but isolating the emotion that you're having about that situation. So Tara Brach teaches us how to identify those emotions and single out what they are, and then just sit with them. Just sit quietly and say, okay, I feel hurt, and just let that be. This is about observing our emotions, but not judging them. The suffering that we have is really not about the situation that occurs, it's about the emotional reaction that we have to that situation. And it seems counterintuitive, but if you just allow that emotion to be there and accept it, it actually loses its power. It doesn't seem like it would. It seems like maybe it would, gain strength, but it doesn't. It starts to dissipate. It's really a powerful practice. Tara Brach shows us how to do this in the book, and once you learn how to accept your emotions, you suffer much less. All right, the next book is Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. This book is a little different. It's not a traditional self-help book. It's not really a self-help book at all. In fact, I think it's listed under biography because Lori Gottlieb is a therapist, and she finds herself in a situation where she needs a therapist. So she gets blindsided by a man that she thought she was going to spend the rest of her life with, and then he just walks out and leaves. And she's having a lot of trouble processing that, so she gets a therapist. And then she takes us with her into her therapy sessions with her therapist. She also takes us into her sessions with her patients. And she has a wide range of patients that are really, their stories are just really fascinating. So there's a 70-year-old woman who is estranged from her children because of an abusive relationship that she had in the past. And she's having a lot of self-blame and self-loathing because of it and doesn't see a reason to live. Then there's the powerful Hollywood producer who just is completely out of touch with his emotions, but is suffering and doesn't even acknowledge that he really needs therapy, yet he keeps coming back. And by the end, we find out what's really driving all of this, and it's fear, and it's really interesting to see it all kind of unravel. And then there's the 30-year-old woman who has terminal cancer and goes to therapy to deal with all of that. I guarantee that you will see yourself in one of these people. Maybe not the exact same situation, but the feelings that they're having and the fears that they're having. This book was a good reminder for me that everybody suffers. Everybody's got something going on, and this book allows you to not only have compassion for other people, but for yourself. Knowing that it's okay if you need therapy. It's okay if you can't do it alone. It's okay if you have feelings about a situation, because everybody does. It's a very universal feeling. And honestly, this book was hard for me to put down a lot of the times because it was such an engaging read. So it was one of those books that really stayed with me even after I finished it. I just thought about it a lot. So highly recommend. Now the next book is The Happiness Advantage by Shawn Achor. So I have struggled with depression since my early 20s. And when I read this book, it was during a particularly depressive episode of my life. And I will say that just reading this book made me feel better. So the author, Shawn Achor, is a world-renowned happiness researcher. And one thing he mentioned, which I found very interesting, was that for every 17 articles that are written about depression, which is the opposite of happiness, there's only one scholarly article about happiness. So depression is studied 17 more times than actual happiness. But there are very few studies about what makes people happy and what happy people all have in common. So one of the main points the author makes is that happiness is not a reward that you get from doing all the right things. You know, we think that if we study hard and then get married and have kids and get a house, then happiness will come. Like, that's the formula to happiness. It's more of an internal thing. Happiness is actually something that we can choose and something that we can cultivate. Happiness isn't something that we get because everything in life worked out. That's just not the case for anybody. So he studied different people, different communities around the world to try to see what they all have in common. So just a few of the things off the top of my head is community, exposure to sunlight, expressing gratitude, food that they eat. There's tons more in the book, and it's really interesting to read. He also talks about how happiness is an advantage in every area of life. Happiness helps drive success at work, but also in your personal life, in your health, in your relationships, and really every aspect of life. So there is a very big benefit to try to cultivate that happiness in your life. So I recommend that as well. So the next book is You Are a Badass. And this is one that, honestly, when I first saw the title, I had heard about this book for a while, but I didn't pick it up because it just, I don't know. I think something about the title, even though I love the title now, at first I was like, this just seems like one of those rah, rah, you go girl books that would be a little cheesy and Pollyanna. But this book is really like if Tina Fey and Chelsea Handler got together and wrote a self-help book. It's actually very funny. It's very cleverly written. Jen Sincero, the author, has just a great voice. She talks to you like she's your best friend. So if I was going to write a book, I would probably want it to sound something like this. She's like, girl, here's the deal. This is what you got to do. So this book does talk a little bit about mindset, but then it also teaches you how to take action. And it really just helped me get out of my own way to be able to create a life that I actually loved and was proud of. This is a get off your ass and do it book. And this book is great for people who are not really big readers. Her writing is so engaging. You can get through it probably in a couple of days. It's actually just a fun, easy read, and it's super helpful. Now, the next book is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Now, this is another book I was very dubious about and can be a little bit controversial. It sounds like it's a finance book, but it is not. It doesn't give you any investing advice or stock tips or what to do to, financial tactics to grow your money or anything like that. This actually is about mindset and how it translates to action. So even though it says think and grow rich, this can help you achieve whatever goal you have, whether it's a health goal or a career goal or a financial goal. So this book was actually written in like the 1930s, but it is still a bestseller today. A lot of successful people reference this book as something that really helped them get to where they are. So the author studied some of the richest, most successful people at the time, the Carnegies, the Rockefellers, etc., and identified traits that they all had. He also talks about the power of your mind to attract what you want. So this is a little bit like the law of attraction. And I gotta be honest, so remember that book, The Secret, that came out, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, something like that. I read it and I thought it was kind of BS. I thought, you just think about something and then the universe delivers it to you on a platter. It doesn't really work that way. This book it kind of says things like that, but now I can grasp it a little bit. And it's not so much, for me anyway, if you believe in the universe and that you can manifest things through the universe, then that's awesome. But for me, I see it as a bit more practical. So if you focus your mind on something and you are, kind of obsessed with something, you will focus your mind more on doing things that help get you there. And your mind will be more open to opportunities that are in the ether that you will suddenly notice and take action on. So it's kind of like if you and your friend are talking about a red car and then all of a sudden you see red cars all over the road. It's not that there's actually more red cars on the road, it's that you're noticing them more. And there were two huge takeaways that I got from the book. So the first one was, he said to write down your goal on a piece of paper and put it by your bedside and then look at it and recite it every morning and every night. And that is something that I do. That's something I actually talked about in my morning routine video. I'll share with you what it is. So what I wrote down was that, and I did make a financial goal out of it. So I said, I will make $1 million by October 1st, 2028. And then you need to say how you're going to do it. So you need to set a date, it needs to be specific, and you need to say how you're going to do it. And when you say that every morning when you wake up and every night before you go to bed, then it is imprinting in your brain. So your brain is attuned to that and even subconsciously is working to help you achieve that. And I do read it every morning and every night. I wrote it, I think, for the first time a couple years ago, so I have about 3 years left. I gave myself a 5-year goal and I'm getting close. I'm not there yet, but I definitely have taken steps to get much closer. And I will make that goal by 2028. And the other thing that stuck with me is that these people were not successful because they were the smartest or had the most technical knowledge. It's because they were the most determined, the most ambitious, and they did not give up. So in the past, I used to try something, and if I didn't succeed right away, I just called it a failure and I didn't revisit it. I just thought I was a loser. But after reading this, it really taught me that successful people keep going. They fail. They fail all the time. Thomas Edison has a quote that's something like, I have not failed. I've only found 10,000 ways that don't work. But he kept going. And that is something that I aspire to. And that was very motivating for me. So yes, we're all going to have failures and setbacks. But what separates a successful person from someone who's not as successful is that a successful person keeps going. They don't give up. So this book has truly made a tangible impact on my life. And I didn't want to read it at first, but I'm so glad I did. All of these books are linked below in the description box, so you don't have to go searching around for them. And I hope you check them out, and I hope that they help you as much as they helped me. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend who you think needs it. It will really help us help other women who may be struggling. And if you need more help with mindset, then watch this video next to learn the 3 mindset shifts that I made that helped me start over after 50. And remember, you're a bad mamma jamma. I'll see you in the next video.